And we're recording. Righteous, ready to do our intro again?
To continue. I'm trying to scratch my face, bro.
It was not worth it. Was not worth it, you
Okay. This is the first episode of the Knighturai Productions podcast. It's not a horror podcast, but we are going to be talking about horror today just because our first podcast comes out on Halloween. So I am Knighturai, Knight. My name is Rob. This is my wife.
I'm Ella. You can find me on Instagram at the.celestial.rose.
She has her own podcast called the Power of Three Podcast, so go ahead and check her out. And this is Master Menace 808, featured in some of my videos. He's pretty much my playthrough buddy, and my younger brother, Mike.
Hey, I'm Michael.
Cool. So, we're by no means experts at horror at all, but we three do very much enjoy horror movies. So I thought, I know these are the people I watch horror movies with, so we figured let's get together and let's see what we can come up with and talk about.
Let's do it.
So, let me check some of my notes out here. So let's start with, so we talk about who we are, so let's talk about what our favorite scary movies are. And I know it's hard to pick one of all time, and if it's easier, make it from different, a different genre of horror or a different time frame of horror.
Yeah.
You can have a few if you want.
Okay. I'd say one of my most recent favorites is going to be the new It movies. I don't know, maybe I guess a lot of the Stephen King ones, because I love Dr. Sleep as well. So
Dr. Sleep is really good.
Oh my god, such a good movie. So good. So those are probably my two favorites right now to watch and binge on over and over.
It and Dr. Sleep?
Yeah.
What do you like? Which one do you like more?
I like them for different reasons. I like Dr. Sleep for, the look, the deeper look that it gives you into the Stephen King universe.
Yeah.
And I like it because it's just, sheer fucking panic. That's how I feel when I watch it. I'm just I'm fucking scared.
Well, I feel like 1 and 2 are really different.
They are, yeah.
One is, real slow and kind of a build-up.
Dramatic horror.
Yeah, and number 2 is just, all-out CG horror, And, what's the actor's name? You know his name, the guy who played It?
Oh,
Skarsgård.
Skarsgård, yeah. That frickin' kid did amazing.
Oh my god, his face.
Yeah, the things he does with his face, I saw that behind-the-scenes stuff, and, that's his real face, that's his real eye, kicking in and shit. Kid's got some talent.
Yeah.
What else did he do? He was in something else, too, I saw him in, and he was really good.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
He's been in a few things, but they all do that weird thing with their mouth.
Oh, because his whole family's actors and stuff.
Yeah, he says the Skarsgård mouth.
Okay. So, Mike, what's your favorite scary movie recently? You watch a lot.
I don't know if I have, a favorite necessarily.
Yeah, what's one of the best ones you watched recently?
What
was the most recent one you watched?
Most recent probably be Malignant.
Oh, Malignant, yeah!
Okay.
James Wan. I like James Wan.
Pretty interesting movie for the most part. Just, good little twist at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I wasn't really expecting.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of James Wan, and at first watching it, I was kind of disappointed, because I was I feel like it's a, they're trying to redo, the Saw kind of thing. I don't know, I felt like it had a lot of Saw elements into it, and it had, a lot of dramaticness, and it felt like it was cheesy, but I think it was James Wan's way of, kind of building you up to just kind of throw you off with the whole fucking...
Yeah.
Little thing in her back and shit. That was fucking good.
I definitely felt this kind of the same way watching it. I was like, what is this I felt disappointed. I was like, why does this seem so lame? And then you get to near the end and you're like, oh,
yeah,
shit.
it got real good real fast, all of a sudden.
Yeah.
That was good. What other ones have you seen recently, Mike?
Watched The Empty Man. Did you guys see that?
Empty Man, no. What's that?
Interesting.
Was it on Netflix?
It was on HBO. I saw
HBO.
HBO. Yeah, it was kind of interesting. I played out pretty well in the end.
Yeah.
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah, horror movies are hit and miss because sometimes they just suck all the way through, and then sometimes
you just
they
gotta
hit
accept
hard.
them for being cheesy and what they are for the most part.
Yeah, because they're trying to take you out of reality.
Yeah, and you get a lot of B actors that aren't really
That's
named
true.
people, so you gotta just kind of deal with.
Yeah, and that's something I heard from some other horror professionals was that horror is so critically underrated, you know, like there's so much of it, but it's not the next horror movie isn't the next Avengers movie, you know, like it was one of the biggest things to come out, and it was kind of a game changer.
That's because it's
hopefully.
a Stephen King.
Exactly, yeah, and it's part of the
There's
Stephen
already
King
a franchise
universe. Yeah,
built
exactly.
around it.
Yeah, but most horror movies, I mean, even *Malignant* didn't have a huge coming out, you know, because of COVID and stuff, came to HBO. But I that was probably the most recent horror movie I watched too. Was probably *Malignant*, and it was good.
Yeah,
It was good.
I liked
Yeah.
it. I
Definitely
can't
good
remember the main chick.
like the actress.
Yeah. Oh, I do remember her. She, I wasn't too impressed with her, honestly, until she became
Two people.
two people. Like, she was an alright actress, but once she, like, passed out and got, like, possessed from being backwards and shit, like, I was like, okay, she's doing a good job now. Whatever she's doing a good job.
For some reason, too, just like the way that he moved, and then like the whole trench coat thing reminded me a little of like 300 or something like that. Like that kind of like
It reminded me
style.
It reminded me of Blade. Remember in what was it, Blade 3?
Yeah.
With all the and their faces open up
God,
and shit. Yeah. That was I don't know, it reminded me of
Yes.
that, like the way those guys moved and shit, like the other vampires.
Yeah.
Blade 3, can that classify as a horror movie?
Yeah, I would say it is. Vampires
Yeah,
and stuff.
I mean, I wouldn't show it to my kids right away because
No.
it's scary and
Yeah.
violent.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess it's an action horror.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just wanted to say a couple of things about horror. I have a whole bunch of notes here, and I don't even know if I'm gonna say any of it. I'm just gonna start with a couple of things that like. Okay, so from my research, the first horror movie that like ever came out on film, I read that it was called The House of the Devil, and it came out in 1886.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So like before sound, black and white.
Wow.
Yeah. And it looks like, you know, and then in 1910, we start getting more black and white movies, you know, Frankenstein, Mary Shelley's
One was
1818 classic.
What's that dude? Nosferatu or whatever?
Nosferatu was around the 1920s.
1920s,
Yeah, and see, that was black and white, no sound, you know? So yeah. And what I learned from doing the research in that time era is that a lot of the horror around that time era is based on literature. Like Frankenstein, the werewolf, you know, Dracula, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, Nosferatu. There's a movie called The Shadow of the Vampire, and it's got John Malkovich in it, and it's about. Have you seen this? It's an old movie.
It's about the actor.
It's about the people filming Nosferatu, but they're like in the castle and they're using like like they think he's an actor, but he's like the real Nosferatu being a vampire. It's like kind of a comedy, but it's really weird. But it's like really good, and I only saw parts of it when I was a kid. But it's got John Malkovich in it, and we should definitely check that out again.
That sounds like a good one.
And then when does sound... Okay, so what I really want to talk about is, so what people call like the start of modern horror was probably the movie Psycho. And it's Alfred Hitchcock. It was black and white, which was weird because color had already been a thing for like I think like a decade. But because horror is so low budget, it was easier to make Psycho in black and white. I actually have not seen the original Psycho movie. Like the black and white Psycho, Alfred Hitchcock.
Yeah,
which,
but you know the iconic scenes.
Yeah, we know the kind of scenes, like you know, like
the eyes.
yeah, like yeah, all that stuff, you know. So that was like most people say the start of modern horror, you know, where movies like Psycho and stuff. One thing when I was doing research, a movie that I have seen that I really do like is Night of the Living Dead, and you know. The things I research are probably common knowledge. Like, people are going to watch this and be like, oh, no shit. Like, we already knew this stuff. But, so that was a black and white movie. You know Night of the Living Dead?
Yeah,
it's an old zombie movie.
Kicked off the zombie genre, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. The first zombie movie, George A. Romero. But, like, it was also, like, a very controversial film because... Let me read a little bit of this. Yeah, so the main actor was black, and they didn't write it like at no point in the movie they talk about his race or anything like that. He's just a dude in a zombie apocalypse. But this is in 1968, like deep in the the civil rights movement and stuff like that. You know, Martin Luther King, I'm pretty sure, was shot that same year. But at the end of the movie, the cops show up and they think he's a zombie, and all the white cops just straight up gun him down, and it's got like so much imagery for like the civil rights movement and stuff like that, and it was like supposedly so unintentional by George A. Romero, you know, but like it's something that I remember too, watching it as a kid and being like, oh, that's because I was born in the 90s, you know, there was like Rodney King and shit like that, and when I saw that I was like, whoa, like I thought it was intentional. I'm only 34. I thought it was intentional when I saw that in the movie, and I was like, holy shit, that was some deep imagery.
It's odd to me that he continually says it's unintentional, and I guess I believe him, but at the same time I feel like it's probably also maybe a subconscious manifestation on his part, you know what I mean? Like maybe he didn't mean it that way, but also like everyone is going through this, like, you know, maybe he's not, you know, a black person experiencing it, but at the same time he's still witnessing it, and he still, you know, knows people in his community, so maybe it was kind of like a subconscious thing that happened, and he's like, oh, I didn't realize I did this. Like, it was, could be, but it just seems odd that you'd be like, oh, I didn't realize, when it's like, bro.
And the guy, I forget the actor's name, but he did an amazing job, you know. Mm-hmm. But I always hear like TikTok jokes like, you know, the women like near the end of the movie, they're all locked up in the house with, I think his name is Ben, the main character, and I always see black people joking like, oh, you know, are the women more scared because of the zombies outside, or because they're locked inside with a black man in 1968, you know? But there's no reference to any of it, you know, which is, I don't know, it's such a weird thing, and I reread about it on the internet, and I was like, oh, this is some heavy information and stuff.
Yeah.
And another thing, like you've all seen Night of the Living Dead in other movies, especially like in the 90s and stuff, because you've heard about this, right? How the movie used to be like public domain. Like the biggest public domain, like nobody really owned it because they fucked up the copyrights and stuff like that, and that's just nuts. But I think it's no longer public domain. I actually wanted to use some of the Night of the Living Dead in like the intro footage for this and stuff like that, but I was like, oh, I think it's copyrighted now. So, but hey, at least people get their money, right? I think that's what happens. So another thing when I was researching Night of Living Dead, something that I thought was hilarious was that 3 crew members accidentally set themselves on fire during filming. Like they have people being set on fire as zombies, but like 3 people accidentally caught fire. Like they were supposed to like throw a Molotov or something, and it like splashed and hit the guy next to him, and the dude that wasn't supposed to catch on fire caught on fire. And like there's like, you go on Google and you just like type in facts of Night of the Living Dead, and there's just so many things that happened during the filming of that movie and stuff. Again, because horror is low budget, especially back then, you know, black and white, everything's in color.
I guess that's why nowadays they do everything special effects, just because it's safer.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Less practical things happening. I guess that's what made to me, the horror movies back then more terrifying, is because of the practical effects.
Yes,
you know?
Yeah.
A lot of stuff is like real obvious, like CG.
That it's CG, and it's hard to pull off a lot.
Doesn't have that same feeling,
Yeah.
I think that's like what you were saying with the It movies. Like the first one, to me, was a little bit more scarier because it has less
CG, more suspense,
a little more suspense build up, and then the second one's like a lot of CG kind of stuff, and it kind of takes you out of it a little bit. You know?
Yeah.
And me and you are both huge fans of Corridor Crew. Shout out to them if they ever watch this. Yeah. You guys are the shit. But like learning from them too, like those practical effects when they really show, like what is that movie called, The Thing? Yeah. And they showed the old practical effects from The Thing compared to the modern ones, and how they even in the modern one they used a lot of practical things, and then they just like CG'd over and stuff. But like even, you know, the more practical things you have in there, the better, you know. And that's what I like about what's his name? Dusk Till Dawn.
Oh.
Robert Rodriguez. I love all of his, like, those old Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez movies because they're just so gory and just so many squibs going off and prosthetics blowing up and like that. Like you know, when you see that prosthetic, that latex mask like rip open and you see the blood spill out, you know, you gotta be a real artist to get that good in CG and stuff, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But man, yeah, practical effects really are. I love them.
Yeah, not as if they can do a mix of both. It's
Yeah,
really the way
yeah.
to go.
And you remember, you know, growing up with me wanting to be like a film director. I'm always like trying to I had a girlfriend who was really good at makeup, so I'd be like, Michael, lay there. We're gonna cover you in blood and shit. We're gonna videotape it and stuff. So like, yeah, and like now I do a lot of CG work too, but I haven't really done any like gore effects and stuff like that, and I think that'd be really cool.
Mm-hmm.
You want to get bloodied up one day, and we'll make like a little horror clip, post it on Instagram.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, I have so much stuff written here about the horror of history, but it's really just name dropping movies when they were made,
Timeline of
and
movies.
yeah, the timeline of movies and how film has evolved and stuff like that.
Well, but part of your point of even putting together that list was to kind of bring up the point that like horror reflects the times.
Yeah, and that's like a big theory of mine, or like study that I've seen, is that horror usually is a reflection of the times. You know, in the 80s and 70s we have a lot of especially in the 80s we have a lot of sequels, and we have a lot of monster slasher flicks. You know, we have a lot of Freddy Krueger, Jason, Halloween H2O, Michael Myers, you know, like so many of those fucking movies, you know.
The fucking, what's the pin guy? Hellraiser.
Yeah. You know, so many of those, and that's what horror was in the 80s to me, was like, you know, things beyond our imagination coming out to get us. And in the 90s, it becomes more of like, you know, that's when like Scream changes everything, and the slasher flick just goes like through
Who
like
can you
the
trust?
teeny bopper. Yeah,
I know what you did last summer.
Exactly. Yeah. The killer it's not a monster that from the depths of hell or something.
It's one of us.
It's one of us, you know, and that kind of added a whole new type of fear in the 90s.
Yeah, as a kid, I was terrified of that idea.
Yeah.
Of, you know, of it not being a monster, because, you know, monsters aren't
real. Yeah, exactly.
What if it was, you know, somebody you knew?
Mm-hmm.
I used to have a weird thing about the windows at night.
Yeah.
I don't know, I still do.
Oh, bro, you watch The Strangers?
Oh, God.
And they're like, you see the reflection, you look out the window, you see yourself, but when you're standing outside, you can see inside in a dark window.
Oh, that movie fucking scares the shit out of me.
The Strangers is a good one,
Just the concept
Just
of it.
the suspense. Again, and that, I'm pretty sure that was in the 90s, early 2000s. Yeah, you know, but still, that was that human on human kind of
just
atrocity,
yeah,
you know?
Exactly. Tormenting people just because, you know, they just...
No reason, no motive.
Yeah, and then we move on to, like, The Hostel, The Saw,
Purge,
the Gore,
the Purge, the Gore, the what is it, torture porn movies, you know? Where it becomes even more of, like, now it's not somebody you might know, now it's just strangers. Yeah. Strangers are going to abduct you and just cut you up for pleasure, like, you know, and, you know, in the 2000s, I feel like that was a big horror spot, you know.
I think it reflected the fear of human trafficking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure. Especially Hostel.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, all that shit. Just, like, being a vulnerable person and people are, like, out to get you because they're just fucking sickos.
Yeah.
It's like, what? No, please.
Yep.
Please.
Well, then we move past that because we've all seen hooks get ripped through people's bodies and people tear themselves up on screen and cut their legs off, getting smashed. And then now we move to what I feel like isn't even horror. It's just like trying to push you out of your level of comfortability, where we got the Human Centipede. And it's like, it's scary because it's still human on human.
I've never watched those.
I've seen parts of the Human Centipede. It's just, to me, it's not scary. It's just disgusting.
It is disgusting.
Like, it's human on human atrocity, but it's more of like, it's so, to me, it's unrealistic, and it's just so far out there that it's just pushes, you know, it just made me uncomfortable watching it. You know, like, it's not so gruesome or so scary that I want to turn it off. It's just like, I don't need to be watching this.
I feel like that was kind of like...
These aren't images I need to see in my head, you know?
I feel like that was almost like a remnant of, like, the Hostel Saw kind of thing, because I don't feel like it really... Because, I mean...
Well, none of us have fully seen those movies, too, so we can't fully judge those movies.
Yeah, but, like Human Centipede and stuff.
Yeah, I've seen parts of it, and the parts I saw I did not.
But, like, horror now is mostly paranormal based.
And I think we have, like, James Wan to thank for that, because, you know, he started off with The Saw, made his name, and then was anything before The Conjuring?
I I don't know.
We went from The Saw to The
Did
Conjuring,
he
I
do
think.
Insidious or no?
He did all the Insidious movies,
Oh,
I'm
did
pretty
he?
sure.
Okay.
Yeah. At least
Those are kind of around the same time as Conjuring.
as The
Yeah.
Conjuring. He did the Insidious movies, which were very paranormal in your mind kind of thing. The Conjuring movies. He did all the Annabelles, La Llorona, like all those movies. Like he's really brought back that paranormal horror, and I like the Malignant, his newest film, because you think it's paranormal, but it's really like what is that, a monster flick? She had something in her that was gnarly. Like,
yeah.
it was a good movie. If no one's seen Malignant, check it out. It is fucking good.
There's been a couple movies I've seen recently. They try to make it seem paranormal, and then at the end, it's like some dude living in the wall.
In the wall. Yeah, I seen that movie. I forgot what movie that
like
was.
2 or 3 movies with the same.
Yeah.
It's like I'd rather it be a ghost. Like,
There was those short.
Yeah, I'd rather be a ghost.
There was those short movies. You remember that we watched? I think they were either on Netflix or Hulu. We watched these short movies, and like one of the shows, this like couple shows up at a house, like a B&B or something.
Is that the one where they carved all those writings into the guy?
I don't. It's where they were keeping the people under the floorboards and keeping them alive.
That was an
And it
American
their
Horror Story?
family.
Oh, what was that?
Yeah, it was like these short stories. I think it was on
Oh,
Netflix.
That might have been on Hulu. That
It was freaky though. They
Yeah,
were freaky
there's some
stories.
good- there's-
But yeah, there's.
Yeah, that's the hard part about horror. It's hit and miss, but once you find good stuff, man.
Yeah.
You guys ever seen Jordan Peele's new movies?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about those too.
In my opinion, those are some of the best
Dude,
movies to come out.
such good
Those are
movies.
good. What are they?
Oh my
Get
God.
Out?
Get Out and Us.
Us.
Us
Yeah.
is-
I haven't
love
seen
Us.
Us.
You haven't seen Us?
No,
I love
I've only
Us.
seen Get Out.
Oh, dude, Get Out.
I know.
Do you look taller than me? My wife looks taller than me on this video. We're not very tall.
Us was definitely one of my favorites in
Was
a
it?
long time.
Us was-
I
Yeah, you
loved
Us
guys
was
watched that one
good.
together,
That
I
was
think.
good.
Yeah, we watched that together, yeah.
Yeah.
That tripped me the fuck out, dude. I was like, what the fuck?
Dude, those movies
That-
are fucking
Just the
amazing.
thought of that movie, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It's some brilliance. That's what I love about it.
Yeah.
And he plays on the times too of like, race and that kind of stuff.
Yes, he
Yeah.
does. I wanted to talk about him because he started off as Key and Peele, the comedy guys,
yeah.
and now he's a horror master, dude. Like
Yeah.
he's
He's like one of
making
the
his
go-to
way.
guys,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's making his way. I really can't wait to see. Has he got a new movie coming out?
I'm not too sure.
I can't wait for his next one. It's gonna be good for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Get Out was so good,
That was
dude.
great.
I thought it was going one way, and then it went another, and then I was like, okay, now I know what's going on, and then it went another way, and I was just like, bro,
Yeah.
this is some fucking writing. This is some brilliance, dude. Like those were good.
Very good movies.
Yeah, those are his only
Very
two
good
movies?
movies.
He must have more. Yeah, we can look up if he's got more.
I feel like he made one more.
Yeah, there might be a few more.
I think it's called Them. Isn't there one called Them? Like
I remember
one
a
called
black
Us
and white
one called Them.
Ant movie called Them. Yeah, remember the Ant movie called that?
Oh, he just did the Candyman. I've been wanting to watch
He
that.
did-
Oh, he did
Yeah, he did the
Candyman.
Candyman.
Oh, we gotta watch that.
We gotta watch
We gotta watch
Candyman.
I saw I was able to rent
Okay,
that.
I'm down.
You can rent it now for like $5.
I wasn't
Cool.
even gonna.
Did you ever watch the original Candyman?
No.
You ever watch the original? How many? There's like 5 of them, yeah?
He didn't direct. He was a part of it though.
Oh, okay. Like one of the producers
I
or
think
something.
Of Candyman?
I think so.
Okay.
Still yet, I'll watch it.
No, yeah, I wanted to watch
He touched
Candyman.
it, I'll watch it.
Candyman, yeah, that just came out. Any new movies, horror movies coming out?
Not really much coming. I don't know. Oh, the Halloween movie just came out.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
One.
Jamie Lee
Yeah.
Curtis looking.
Oh.
I mean, she's still alive, looking old as hell. Still.
She looks great. Shut up.
I seen her in New Girl.
She's the
Yeah,
scream
no, she
queen.
looks fine.
She's the Scream Queen, dude. She started it.
I would totally watch that just to support
Yeah.
her coming back. Just
I
like,
remember
yeah,
her in movies when I was growing up.
Yeah.
I remember her in True Lies growing up. You ever saw True Lies? Arnold Schwarzenegger.
No.
She was like a little striptease in it.
Oh, okay.
I was like, oh.
There's nudity.
Oh,
I see.
it's not nudity, but
No.
she's in her underwear.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But yeah, and yeah. So we've talked about modern horror. We talked about James Wan movies. Do we? I know we're all fans of Tim Burton.
What
I mean,
is some
he-
Tim Burton.
I mean, he does horror, but like,
It's like soft horror.
I love
You know.
Corpse Bride.
I love Corpse Bride too. I also
Everybody's
love
like Nightmare Before Christmas. I love Nightmare Before Christmas, but I love Corpse Bride.
Corpse Bride is brilliant. So is Sweeney Todd.
Sweeney
Todd's one of my favorites.
Yeah, I'm also a fan of musicals, I guess. So.
Yeah.
So
Like
does
we were talking
kinda
about the other
do
day,
for me.
Mars Attacks.
Mars Attacks!
Yeah.
Yeah, we were. Yeah, me and my brother were talking about filming this, and we were just, talking about horror movies and stuff like that. Yo, you remember fucking Tales from the Crypt?
Oh my god. Yes, I had the soundtrack to that, and I would make my parents play it, and without the TV on, without the imagery at all, I would fucking fall asleep. Or I would fucking get scared.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So Tales from the Crypt. I remember me and Michael being little kids, and the X-Files. But I remember when that shit would come on at night,
Music.
we know it'd be bedtime. We're Tales from the Crypt comes on. Me and Michael are like,
You
it's
watch
fucking
those though.
bedtime.
The Crypt Keeper is way scarier than any of the stories.
Yes.
Yeah,
The stories aren't that good.
The intro is the
some of
scary
them are
part.
Some of them,
good.
you go back and watch them a lot. Then
Yeah, I watched a lot of them.
so-
Some of them are good. The Stephen King ones are good.
But the Crypt Keeper was the thing that freaked me out.
Yeah,
I
the Crypt Keeper.
Well,
And
he was so
got,
funny.
Yeah,
He was
he's got
funny,
a huge long history too.
Yeah.
In the old scary comic books and stuff like that.
Oh,
he's been
yeah,
around.
that's right.
He's been around for
Yeah,
a while,
yeah.
dude. They should totally do bring back Tales from the Crypt.
That'd be cool. I'd be down.
They did they have Are You Afraid of the Dark on Netflix, and it's
New
not,
ones?
It's not the same kind of story. They
Really?
turned it.
Isn't
Yeah.
it like a movie or something?
Yeah, it's like a 3-part TV show. It's like
That used to
they
scare
don't
the
tell
shit out
they
of
don't
us
tell
when we were
short
kids.
stories. It's like
It's a
it's-
Do,
story
do
about
you remember?
that,
So
yeah,
from
it's
Are
not-
You Afraid of the Darks when we were kids?
yeah.
Do you remember which one scared you the most?
The one I remember the most is the superhero one for some
The
reason.
superhero one.
Yeah.
Do you remember the one with the two brothers, and the guy would that fucking dude would come out of the wall and try to get the brother in the head, and they needed pure silver.
Yeah. Was that the one with the riddle? Or that was a different one?
I'm not
I remember
sure.
that one too, and it was like a hole in the bucket or something was the answer. It was I forgot what the riddle was, but I remember that one.
I don't know. I remember that one scaring me because I don't know. It had a brother thing to do. I was like, oh dude,
Yeah.
this ghost is just coming for the brothers, and I was like, fuck that. Me and Michael don't have silver. We're fucked.
It was too real to you. You're like, no,
Yeah.
not me and my brother.
Yeah, but yeah, growing up, me and Mike, I've seen a lot of horror movies with you, but growing up and even now, me and Michael still watch a lot of horror movies.
Well, you had to show me a lot of horror movies
Yeah.
because I was very sheltered.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. So and because Knighturai Productions is a game development company, last thing I wanted to talk about are horror games. Any spooky games you guys played lately? I remember Black from way back in the day. Remember that game?
Yeah.
With the witch, the little girl witch. I remember that and Dead Space. Dead Space wasn't really spooky. It was just monsters and shit.
Moments.
But yeah.
There was, I can't remember what they're called, but there was a couple times we played those ghost hunting games, where we'd go in, or not ghost hunting games, but there was this one where you go up to an asylum and you have to walk through it, and you let me hold the mouse for it, and I was going so slow.
Oh.
that you were dude, just give it to me
We were playing
already.
fucking Slender Man.
Oh, yes. And I was creeping through it, and he's like, you have to go faster. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my god, what if it gets me?
We did the same thing. We found out you could do 2 controllers on Blair Witch on Xbox. And it's broad daylight in the middle of the woods, and she's snailing down the trail. I'm like, babe, you gotta get to the next point
was
so
so
it can
scared.
become night, so scary shit can happen.
Is that the one with the dog?
That was the one with the
And I
dog.
kept trying to wait for the dog.
Yeah, she's like, where's the dog? I'm like, he's an AI. He will show up. Don't worry. And she's just so concerned about the fucking dog. I'm like, oh my god,
Who's my
dude.
puppy?
That was a good game. Yeah,
I love horror games.
Yeah, I always planned on making a horror game, and one day, hopefully, I can.
Be cool. I'd play it.
I definitely want to add some horror elements to the game I'm making now. You know.
Some spooky stuff.
Yeah,
That'd be cool.
it's a dystopian future, so put some
Sounds scary to
deformities
me.
and scary stuff. I don't know about zombies and stuff, but yeah. But I guess and the game that came out recently that we've been playing is Back for Blood. It's not a scary game, but it's a
Yeah.
zombie
Zombies.
game. It's
Yeah.
the new Left 4 Dead, just gunning fucking zombies down left and right. That's super fun.
That's why I've never been too into the horror games, just because they're so slow paced and
They're yeah.
I want to shoot everything.
Yeah, and for me, if I'm gonna play a game by myself, I need good story to keep
Yeah.
me in there. I even feel like Metro was kind of scary at times. Going through the sewers and the fucking wolfy monsters and shit like that. There's some good games. And then of course like Outlast and
Yeah.
games like that. You ever play those?
Parts of it, I just never played through.
They're just so slow.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like been my thing with
And they
making
go-
a
they
horror
go a little
game.
bit
Like
too
it's just
long
so
for
slow
my
and
liking.
crawling through and puzzles, and then you know, are you gonna hide from the monster? Like
Yeah.
I hate that shit. I hate that in the game.
I do too. I hate hiding. I'm like, just let me fight it.
Yeah, and we have I guess one of the scariest games we've been playing is Phasmophobia. We have a video on that. We'll probably do another one in the future when they do another update. I have notes on something, and it made me think of you. I think it was in the 70s. One of Ella's favorite movies, and I'm not sure if it qualifies as horror, but is the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
I love that movie.
I know you do.
It's got horror in the name.
Yeah, she loves that movie, but I had some facts written down about it that I thought she'd be interested in, but they're lost in translation in the notes. So
His name Tim Curry.
Tim Curry,
He's it, the original it.
he's the original it. Yes, he is.
Tim Curry.
Tim Curry.
Curry
Yeah,
is
let's
a
talk about
master.
Tim Curry. Dude, you remember Legend with Tom Cruise? It's
Oh, he's the devil?
He's like a little
Oh,
boy,
yeah,
and he has the
yeah.
devil with the big horns.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't know that was Tim Curry for the longest time, and when I finally found that out, I was like, dude, you can tell by his laugh. Yeah.
So whatever, I can't do it.
I remember him from Home Alone as well. Home Alone 2. Yeah.
I remember him from, because I'm younger, Muppet Show.
Oh, yeah.
That was one of my first, that and Clue. Those were some of my first,
Clue,
like,
there's a Clue movie?
Yeah.
yeah, he's the butler.
Yeah.
You haven't seen Clue?
No.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you
No.
should watch that. But yeah, he's the butler in Clue. So those are my first two, like, Tim Curry occurrences where I saw it. And then when I got a little bit older, I saw Rocky Horror
Yeah, mine was
Picture
Rocky
Show.
Horror Picture, Home Alone, and
Yeah,
Legend.
Home Alone. Yeah, so they are, he's fucking iconic as hell.
Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Hopefully it wasn't too long. If you've made it to the end, hit that like button, subscribe. Hopefully we'll be having a podcast once a month. And if it picks up traction, maybe we'll do it once a week. I'm still, I'm doing all this by myself, so I'm doing my playthroughs, editing the videos, and trying to release them between Wednesdays and Fridays every week.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully this can come out Friday this week. And next month we'll do a Thanksgiving podcast or something. We'll talk about
something
the atrocities of America and the Native Americans. Yeah, see, she's excited.
I love
We'll
it.
talk about something. Yeah. So thank you. This was Knighturai Productions podcast. Thank you. Peace
Bye.
out.